Barcelona set a huge release clause for Pedri. Pogba wants French star to join United. Real Madrid set their sights on a Premier League defender and a transfer roundup, all coming up on today's OneFootball Daily News. As I'm your host Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. First up, and we have got some good news for Barcelona fans, and it's all about new contracts. So according to multiple news outlets, including Fabrizio Romano, the club are set to announce tomorrow a new deal for their teenage sensation Pedri. So despite being only 18 years of age, the player has become a key figure not only for Barcelona but also for the Spanish national team, having featured in Euro 2020 and also the Olympics. And after Barcelona losing a key figure like Lionel Messi, they of course want to avoid losing any more of their talented players, which is why they are hoping to secure this deal with Pedri, like I say, that's set to be announced tomorrow, that would keep him at the club until 2026. And regarding any clubs trying to sweep in for the player before 2026, I don't think Barcelona have to worry, as they have set a release clause for Pedri of a whopping €1 billion. Yes, you heard me correctly, €1 billion. One of the biggest release clauses ever. Reportedly, the likes of Liverpool and some other top clubs across Europe were eyeing up a move for the player, but now I think that they are definitely backing off with a release clause like that. This release clause really does speak volumes as to how important Pedri is for Barcelona and their plans for the future. Of course, like I say, the last year hasn't been the greatest for them, but knowing that Pedri is committing to the club will surely give fans a lot of hope for the future and the revival of Barcelona. And in addition, another player that looks set to sign on the dotted line as his contract does expire in the summer of 2022 is Ansu Fati. According to reports, his agent has arrived in Barcelona and negotiations are set to go underway. So with players like Fati and Pedri committing to the club, the future definitely looks bright for Barcelona. And some other good news for them, Sergio Aguero looks like he is back fighting fit. He reportedly did score in a behind closed doors friendly for Barcelona, and what this means is that hopefully Barcelona fans will see the player make his debut sooner rather than later. So next up, and Paul Pogba has been speaking to the media. However, this time it is not about his future, it's not about his career at Man United or a potential move to Juventus, but he has been talking about maybe hinting at wanting one of his France national team players to join him at Old Trafford. The player in question, it is 21-year-old Aurélien Tchouaméni, who plays for Monaco, and he has hit the headlines across Europe recently and is arguably one of the most in-demand youngsters at the minute, with the likes of Real Madrid, Chelsea and Juventus all interested in the player. But Pogba did speak to the media and he heaped so much praise on the player, saying that he really enjoys playing with him and he hopes to be playing with him more. Of course, some people have interpreted this as a potential hint that he would like to see him at Manchester United, and let's face it, he would be quite a good fit at Manchester United. The player is normally a defensive midfielder. Manchester United are lacking in that area. The only out-and-out defensive midfielder that they can rely on is a 33-year-old Nemanja Matic. However, looking at the way that Manchester United have treated some of their young incoming players, Donny van de Beek for example, he hasn't got a lot of game time at the moment, so maybe this could put off potential youngsters going to the club. However, Manchester United is still a big club and they could potentially lure a player like Tchouaméni to Old Trafford. However, they are going to have to get in line because, like I say, he is extremely in demand. When he has featured for the France team, especially in the Nations League recently, he has been great and has been a very good replacement for N'Golo Kante. And in addition, he has got off to a flying start with Monaco, and what this means is that Real Madrid are interested in the player. They believe that he could be good competition to Casemiro in the middle of the pitch and would be a good long-term addition. But in addition to this, also there is Chelsea. Like I say, he's been a great replacement for Kante for France, and they believe that he could be a good replacement full-time for Kante for the Blues. Now, whether Pogba actually wants to see the player at Old Trafford is of course his future is still undecided, or perhaps he just wants to play with him more in the France international team. It will be interesting to see what happens with the player's future, as it seems like it's only just the beginning of a very intense race for a very exciting young talent. So next up, and there has been a lot of talk about Chelsea defender Antonio Rüdiger. As his contract winds down, which expires in the summer of 2022, he is reportedly assessing all of his options, and with one eye on the transfer window already for next summer, it seems like Real Madrid are one of the teams that are very much interested in him, as according to Marca, they have got him pretty high up on their list of transfers. Now, the Chelsea defender has two key factors as to why Real are so interested in him. The first one is of course economic reasons. Whilst Real Madrid are sitting pretty when it comes to the amount of money they have to spend compared to the the likes of Barcelona in Spain, they are still trying to get over the effects of the pandemic. So if they can bring in Rudiger for free, similar to what they did with David Alaba, they would only have to worry about his wages. However, there is a lot of interest in Rudiger across Europe, specifically from the likes of Bayern Munich, so perhaps Real Madrid would have to try and find a cut price deal to bring the player in January. And another reason why Los Blancos would be interested is that Rudiger is 28 years of age. He's in the prime of his career, he's a quality player, and he does have quite a lot of experience. Since the departures of the likes of Rafael Varane and Sergio Ramos, it's safe to say that Real have been lacking a little bit in their defence. They are definitely missing that experience that they had, despite the arrival of David Alaba. And if Rudiger did arrive, he would provide the club with quite a few years of really good football, and he already has, like I say, a lot of experience under his belt. Hundreds of appearances in the Premier League, Serie A and the Bundesliga. He almost has 50 caps for Germany, and his CV is pretty impressive. He also would give Carlo Ancelotti some more options when it comes to their defence, as they do need a little bit more flexibility. Because of injuries, we have seen the likes of David Alaba and also Nacho Fernandez having to play out of position at times. They've also had to use an inexperienced Jesus Vallejo, and the only sure starter at centre-back seemingly at the moment is Eder Militao. However, Rudiger does have options. Reportedly Bayern Munich are interested. He has said that he's honoured if they are interested, so I think this will wind down to a case of Rudiger simply picking which team he believes is the best fit. And now we have our transfer roundup. This is where I take a look at some of the other news and transfers going on in the footballing world. And first up, according to reports, Atletico Madrid manager Diego Simeone was interested in bringing Lionel Messi to the club and reportedly asked Luis Suarez to sound out his former Barcelona teammate to see if he would be interested, but of course he made the move to PSG. And speaking of PSG, they reportedly are very interested in bringing Fiorentina striker Dusan Vlahovic to the side as a replacement for Kylian Mbappe, even though their manager Mauricio Pochettino has said that the club are going to try and do everything they can to keep him at the club. And now some Newcastle United news. Adrien Rabiot is the latest player to be linked with the club, with Juventus seemingly willing to sell the player in January, and another player is Timo Werner, as reportedly the club have been in discussions with his representatives. So that's it for today's OneFootball Daily News. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, I will see you all later.